If you want to go to college, but you don't want to break the bank doing it, that's what we're talking about today. 9 ways for college students to save money. Starting off with the most popular tip, of course, create a budget. And you might be thinking, I'm in college, I don't have any money, I don't need to make a budget. Even if you're living off of student loans, you still need to manage that money so that you don't run out and so that you can make sure that you end up with the least amount of possible student loans in the end. This doesn't have to be complicated. You can just write down how much money you're hoping to spend in what categories, then you keep track of the purchases that you're making. And don't forget to make some financial goals for yourself. Like, it's my goal to spend $3,000 a month on all my expenses and keep it in that bracket, or I have these savings goals so I can go on that trip, or I'm planning on looking for a job in this sector, or whatever it is. Next is buy used textbooks. So sometimes you can even borrow them from places like Amazon and then return them later, or you can get the old edition of the textbook, which is so much less expensive because they're always updating the textbooks and making the professors use the new edition of the textbooks so that they can keep that ridiculous price up. But you can buy the old edition sometimes and then work with your professor on that. Or if you have a friend who did buy the overpriced textbook, then you can just see what's changed. Or if there's discussion questions or something that you're supposed to be doing, just double check that they're the right ones. Most of the time, the new edition of the textbook has very, very few changes, and it doesn't actually matter at all that you bought the old textbook, except for the fact that it's not shiny and it doesn't have the cool new cover on it. But when you save, $100 a textbook doing that, so worth it. Share in the comments if you have other places that you buy used textbooks that aren't on, like Amazon. Cook your own meals. I know sometimes if you live in a dorm, they might require that you also buy that meal package, and that can be really overpriced per meal and not necessarily the healthiest. Even if you are living in a dorm, a microwave and a fridge can take you pretty far, and you can go even farther if you have a hot plate, if that's allowed, of course. You can cook healthier things for yourself and buy in larger quantities, which can help save money. Take advantage of student discounts, and this one you should milk for as long as possible. This can apply to subscriptions online too, like Amazon. You can get a student membership. You might even be able to get a discounted gym membership. Some people I know are doing that for jazzercise. Just wherever you go, always ask and look for a student discount because maybe it's even half off. That's amazing. Now I'm really jealous because I'm not a student right now. It kind of makes me want to enroll in just like one online class so that I can get that student discount because they are sweet. Use public transportation. Owning a car can be quite expensive, and if you have to pay for one of those fancy parking passes at your college, those can be hundreds and hundreds of dollars a year. I think at the university I went to, it was like $800 a year for a parking pass alone. That's before you pay insurance on the car, you pay your car payment. One of the uniquely cool things about college, if you don't have an off-campus job, is that all the things that you need to do, all the classes that you need to go to are often in a very small area. Like, you can walk to everything on campus. And if you can't, it's probably pretty easy to take the bus to those other campus locations. Whatever you can do to skip the commute, stay close to campus so that you can walk, not have to buy that parking pass or the car, can save you so much money. Or if you can just do all your schooling online, you don't have to go anywhere. And that has become such a more readily available option these days, which is super cool. And it can also not just save you on transportation, but sometimes the cost of the degree. So you can look for programs where you pay for a 6-month period and you can finish as many classes as you would like in that 6-month period. So if you only have to pay for 1 year, but you can finish your entire degree because you spend all your time studying, then it only costs you that 1 year, which I think is so cool. So you're paying for the subscription to the college service, basically, and then it takes you how long it takes you. So I only know about one university online that's doing that at this moment, but I think this model should be adopted more and more. Avoid credit card debt. And this one is super important because they make it so easy to get that student credit card. They often have banks on campus and they're handing out credit cards like candy. And if you don't understand the risks of a credit card and what credit card debt can do and what those interest rates can be, you can get in major trouble that can affect the rest of your life. A credit card can seem like free money, but when you have to pay it back with 30% interest, that does not feel free at all. It can mean that you're paying twice as much or 3 times as much for everything you bought with that credit card. So I would mostly avoid credit cards in college altogether, but if you're looking to build your credit, you could put a small reoccurring monthly bill on a credit card and have it put on auto payment so that you are getting that credit card history. But you have to pay that credit card off every single month, even when you're in college and you're busy and so many things are going on. That's why I just think if it's not an automatic payment, you probably shouldn't use your credit card for it. Find a part-time job. So if you can get some sort of job to offset those expenses while you're in college, or even perhaps pay for your living costs like your apartment and your food, you can really lower the amount of student loans that you end up with. And that might not sound like a big deal, but anything that you can pay now means you don't have to pay back with interest later, which means it's literally cheaper. But this can get tricky because if you do take on a lot of work hours, it can definitely interfere with your studies, and then you don't get as good grades and you're not making those same connections and you're not getting as much out of your degree as you would be otherwise, and that's not a good thing. So you kind of have to weigh the cost of having less debt to pay back versus your ability to handle the workload. And that can be really different for everyone and how they manage stress. What things helped you save money while you were in college? If you like videos like this, hit that like button and subscribe for more. See you in the next one. Bye.